Good afternoon to you, Kim McAllister, in for Nikki Maduro today. Thank you for being along. And I'm sorry I was a little bit tardy to the Nikki Maduro party as we wrap up the Mark Thompson show and move to the Nikki Maduro show. So thank you for being along for the ride. Of course, the breaking news is the missing submersible crew, is believed to be dead. That is what Ocean's Gate is saying. Of course, the U.S. Coast Guard coming out today with press conference just moments ago. We carried it live on the Mark Thompson show that this remote operated vehicle found the tail cone of the Titan, which is the submersible, on the sea floor, probably about a third of a mile ish from the bow of the Titanic. They call the debris consistent with the loss of the pressure chamber, which is just the worst news for the families, which have all been notified, along with the British and the French government. Um, it was about 500 meters, they say, off the bow of the Titanic. So I don't know if the banging noises that were heard in recent days had anything to do with the Titan or not. But what we do know is that the Titan is gone. It is now debris on the ocean floor. And it's a sad story. I think the world, not just our nation, but our world was gripped by this story because there was a chance that it could end with success, that it could be this story where we were all hoping for the good outcome, for the happy ending. And that was not to be. So not the way we wanted this to go at all. It's yeah, it's a sad story. I don't know if you have thoughts that you want to share on this. I've seen over the last couple of days a lot of really morbid jokes. I'm sure they will continue. Um, I thought it was in poor taste while these people could still be alive and rescued. Lucky GSF says it was the ghost. Did anyone ever see the One Step Beyond episode where the guys in a German sub kept hearing banging within their walls? Oh, no. No, I didn't see that. Heather says the only curse is human nature and the drive to engage in risky behavior. And Karen writing, the only good thing coming out of this may be the Titanic industry will be regulated for safety. Yeah. Thanks, Grady. Appreciate that. Wes wonders if they had any kind of black box aboard that could contain some minimal information when things went bad. So, if there was some type of lag or they got caught or that was them banging before this thing imploded, maybe they left a note of some type. Maybe it was, rolled up in plastic and I mean, who knows? But likely not. One of the things I saw someone say earlier, Wes, is that they were grateful that if there was an implosion that the death would have been quick. So, I don't know. I have put the link to dial in. Should you be so inclined to click in, I should say, clicky the link if you want to come in and appear on the show, talk about it, maybe give your opinion, but there it is. Um yeah, it's creepy. Not the way I want to die. I mean, how do you want to die in your sleep when you're old? Would be the best way, I guess. One will say, "Oh, well, they died doing what they love. They were explorers and adventurers to the very end." Mm. You are correct, Knit One Pearl One, talking about, Nikki has a second job, which is why I'm solo today. And sometimes Mark will need to fill in at KFI in Los Angeles, and sometimes people will need to go on vacation, as Nikki is doing the second week, or I think it's July 2nd. But we will do our very best to keep the show going. We will try to be here for you as much as we can. Of course, our show is crowdfunded, which means we rely on you. The more success we have with that, the less likely it is that we'll have to go somewhere else to look for a paycheck. But whether we do or have to do that or not, we are committed to keeping these shows here on YouTube and on podcast platforms for you. and we're going to do our best to keep it running. Even if you may see a change in eventually the form of how it goes, whether we can do it every day or not, but we're really committed to it, and we're really trying to make it happen. So just so you know. The lady Beatrice writes, I hope the company is poised for some wrongful death suits because they knew the safety issues and they allowed this thing to be in use. I think that's definitely going to happen. In this case, no one, I would say, really needs the money. These are millionaires, billionaires that were aboard this thing. These families are very wealthy. So, I don't think it's about that. It would be more about what happened here was wrong, and that there weren't checks, and there were flippant things even said to the media, about safety and about how it kind of hamstrings adventure and hamstrings innovation. And I think all of those things can be used, and maybe, you know, give a signal to the next person that thinks they can go and do something like this without safety measures. So that would be. Nick says it's already regulated. Rush just ignored them, but shouldn't have been allowed to, right, Nick? You shouldn't be allowed to just ignore like that. So, um, Ms. Organic says, I think the contracts the participants signed will insulate them from lawsuits from family members, right? Because we know that they signed basically their life away. I understand this could result in death. I understand this could result in psychiatric trauma, and we're going to sign anyway, right? So, um, yeah, I think you're right. Lady Beatrice says, is it me or is the Titanic site as cursed as the Hope Diamond? It is cursed, it seems like. Yeah. So sad ending to this story. But I'm moving on to happier things. Oh, I'm stuck in time in a very bad way. But I'm moving on to happier things because those of you that listened to KGO may remember Maureen Langan. And you may remember she had a show on the weekend. She's a good friend of mine. She's been here on our show before. She's super nice and kind. Oh, yes, and funny. And this week, something really big, I don't want to say happened for her because I think Maureen takes control of her destiny. I think she made it happen. She was on America's Got Talent. You may have seen it, but all of us that worked with her at KGO were so excited and so just rooting for her. And we've been passing around this video of her appearance on America's Got Talent, and I've been desperate to talk to her about it. So please help me welcome Maureen Langan. Hello.
Kim, how are you, my darling? You are so great.
Hi. I am so proud of you for taking this risk, for making this happen. All of us from KGO, all of your former listeners, all of your former coworkers, we're just rooting for you. And it was so nice to see you get up there and kick it, kill it.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Kim. I really listen, you don't have you do what you can with your work. I've been performing. I was a journalist for many years, and I left to perform stand up, and I've been doing it for 22 years. And to get an opportunity to go on America's Got Talent and to do well and get 4 yeses and a standing ovation, you want to cry, but then you can't because you've got an attitude. You got to, you know what I'm saying? You can't but I was so moved by the whole experience. But again, you do what you can to control your career. But then I didn't submit to do it. I got a call from a casting director, had seen some of my clips. And I go, yeah, I don't think I'm right for the show. And he said, no, we think you are, your material. Like, oh, really? What material? Let me see. Are you BSing me? And he told me clips that he liked. I go, all right, so you're not BSing me. But I don't want to be, the mocked. You know how they have certain acts that are the foils.
Right.
And I didn't want to be that person. I've worked too hard to be undermined. He said, no, we're coming to you with sincerity, that we can't tell you what the judges will think, but we as producers like what you're doing. And I said, yeah, but I don't like competitions. I wasn't playing hard to get, and then he said, well, can you look at it as a showcase for your talent and connect with people? I go, oh my God, that I know how to do. I want to connect with people. Yes, I'll do that. So that was the right thing for me.
Was it fun, or were you When you walked on that stage, was it just like any
Mm.
other day at a comedy club where
Oh,
you walk
yeah, any
in,
other day.
or
Yeah,
was it like, "Oh my
sure.
god, there's Simon, there's Heidi, look at this
Yeah,
crowd." Like, was
yeah.
it a different experience? Was it nerve-wracking?
It was a totally different experience, and it was nerve-wracking. And before I tell you a bit more about that, can I give you a little KJO dirt gossip?
Oh, please.
I mean, okay, I won't name names, but this is dirt. This just happened. People have been amazingly supportive. Like I am so it's just like you go, oh my God, these people I grew up with from grammar school, or I worked at a supermarket through high school and college, and people in the florist department, the deli, and strangers that have seen you in clubs around the country, your neighbors you grew up with, and the comedy community has been so supportive. Like it's just overwhelming with love around. It's just incredible. But
Yeah.
I did get a message from, just say, a former program director who fired me and sent me an email just saying, "I'm so happy for you. Congratulations. It was very good." And me having to be me can't BS. So I wrote back, "Wow, this crack." I said it out like in a. This was the tone. I don't know if it read this way. I went, "Oh my God, you crack me up." And then I said, "You fired me, and you admitted you never listened to my show ever.
Oh my
But
god.
you have a." I said, "But you have a good personality, so I wish you all the best." Because he does have a good personality, and I do wish him all the best. And it is insane that you would just casually reach out to somebody that you looked in their face and said, "I've never listened to your show," and fire you.
Oh god.
I think that's a little insane. That's a little right. I think that's good, right? Like a little. Is that good dirt that I shared, or should I
I
not have
think
shared
that's
that?
pretty good dirt. I like that. I like that. And I
Yeah,
think that
but I
when
don't think
someone
he's a bad person. Yeah, I don't think the
no,
person's a bad person at all.
and
I just
probably
think
had to
maybe a
fire
little
you
more.
because of a lack of funding, but yeah, if never listening to your show, that's bad form.
Well, listen, if you're a program director and you've never listened to my show and you have no idea that I was a journalist for years and a political reporter, that's not really cool. But anyway, I just wanted to give you a little dirt. Um,
You're getting a lot
so
of
in
positive comments from the chat as well. A lot of people
thank
saw
yeah,
the episode. A lot of people said you connected and you were super funny and they loved it.
yeah, people were real. I can't see your chat, only you can, right?
No, you can see it, and I'm putting some of them up here on the screen.
All right. Oh my, our Kim. Thank you, kids. Good
Yeah.
dirt, said Kim. She knows who it is. It's named after something in a toolbox. Okay. So anyway, but a nice person. I have no hard feelings for him. Just professionally, I'm not. It lacks in respect.
Yeah.
So you were asking me, is it like any other day? Of course not. I mean, it's insane. No, and it it was very heightened. And what happens? I look. Should I take myself off this? People are looking, right? Should I take myself
No,
off the
you're
camera?
fine. No, 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 stay on because
I look homeless.
I got frozen, so it's good to have you at least one of us on. That's good.
Oh, all right. But I'm so exhausted. So,
You look
um,
beautiful.
oh yeah, yeah. Thank you. So, sure. I'm still very jet lagged because I was traveling, and I didn't know until a few days beforehand that this was going to air. So I came back early from performing abroad. It was in Bulgaria. Hilarious. So it is very heightened. It's a very different experience. You are performing in front of 1,500 people and the four judges. So I, you go out there and you see them, and you know, but I didn't play to them. I played to the audience. And
Mhm.
I've done big theaters, and I love the energy of a big crowd that's there and excited to support. So I just took the stage big in terms of connecting with the people. And it's always this little strange when they start to interview you and then go, okay, go do comedy. Because you usually hit the stage with all of that instead of,
Right.
okay, hi, nice to meet you. Okay, oh, yes, funny now. But
Right.
for me, luckily, it's part of my personality anyway, so I was able to move into it. Um, but the thing is, too, like, because we're comedians, there's a rehearsal the day before and they're running late and they're like, okay, there's your mark. Everybody was fantastic to deal with. There's your mark, there's the microphone. And I'm like, yeah, but I need to walk out from the wings. I need to hold a mic. I need to know what mic I'm holding. I need to feel the space. It sounds so corny, but I can't just go out there for the very first time,
Mhm.
without having done all that. And they were so wonderful. Yeah, the judges were great. Howie, man, all of them were so just so kind and supportive. And Howie was amazing, and Sophia, jag sådär television show.
It's funny because I was looking at Howie Mandel when he's like, "You were great. You had great content and whatever else." And I thought, "Dude, do you understand she's probably been doing this as long as you have?"
Yeah, yeah, probably. I know, but it was
I
nice
mean,
that he gets it and
Maur
saw it. And like,
Maureen's not new here. I mean, this is you've been doing this for a while. You're pretty polished.
well, you didn't see that happened when I did it live, and it wasn't said. They edited it out, but he did say, "Man, your 20 plus year shows. It shows. It's right there, and you deserve
Yeah.
this." So he does get it, which made me really happy.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, "Oh, look at this newbie." He was very generous, and he got it, which made me happy.
And I think when you're on a show with this wide reach, everyone who maybe never heard your name before
Hmm.
now knows Maureen Langan. And so even if doing the show just for that reason, now you have a
Hmm.
whole group of people who, when they see you come through town or when they see you have a show or
Hmm.
whatever else, they're
Hmm.
like, "Oh, I know who she is. I'll buy those tickets.
Well,
I'll do that."
well, that's right. And that's what matters is that, I've been doing this for a long time. I'm not 20 years old. I have people that are like, "Oh my God, this is going to really jumpstart your career." I'm like, "No, I've been working for 22, 24 years at this, but what it will do is allow me to have audience members that get me so that we can
Mhm.
say, you don't have to be everything to everyone. Not that I am that anyway, but you have a little more, it gives you more freedom to speak freely because people know your sensibility. They're going to come to see you. We can all BS. Oh, Kim said they said I have a voice. I do.
I know, that was
So do you
funny.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's just that when people go out to see a comedy show, they're going to get different comedians. They don't know, but if they're coming to see you, you can get a little more edgier. I can do some of my darker material.
Yeah. Wes says it was a great way to introduce new comedy to people who normally don't go to comedy clubs and shows.
And my goal is to go to the theaters because I
Yeah.
think people who come out, they want to have they're not being interrupted by clicking and glasses and clanging and trunks. It's just, but we'll see. I've done a lot of theaters and clubs. I love the clubs. I love the Punchline, of course, in San Francisco and Cobb's, and oh, I got to give a shout out. In Santa Rosa, there's a new place called Barrel Proof
Oh, how was
Comedy,
that?
and oh, it's good. They're working really hard to do shows up there. Casey Williams. So when people are trying to create space for live comedy, I want to be very supportive. So I hope people will go out to Santa Rosa. It's a cool space.
Yeah, I mean, we're right here, and so, why not go check it out? I wonder if, like, overnight, people have been calling you to book you on shows and on tours and on everything else. Has this been, like, an
Yeah.
increase in Maureen Langan activity or what?
Yeah, it has been like so. Well, first of all, so many people who watch the show are responding, and it's over. It's wonderful. And yes, people have remind me to tell you about one negative comment because it's really funny and it's going into the act. But I had three negative. People have been incredible. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of followers now on Facebook. Go to my Facebook my professional page and like it because that's where I put most of my stuff. I have a Hanging with Langan group page as well, but I sure would like people to follow me on the basic Facebook and Instagram. I'm trying to get up to speed on Twitter. I'm doing my best, you guys. Um, yes, but what's funny with the bookings are the people who are always very tight with the money, like really, like
Mhm.
somebody who paid me crap, but I wanted to work. I can choose to say no. I choose to say yes if I want to, and it's
Right.
near some of my family. So I said I would like to. I have said yes, and she has said in the past, the one time I've stopped, I haven't taken her gigs. She said, Maureen, once if we hit 100 people, you'll get a bonus. We'll give you this much more. She runs it, but she's not there. She has her management there, and it's packed. And there's like two chairs on the stage. So I said to the manager, "Wow, are we? How much over 100 are we?" He goes, "Over 100. We can't fit more than 96 with these people on
Oh,
stage." Do you understand? This is what we deal with. This is
yeah,
So I got a
that's pretty
call from her
funny.
saying, "Can we?" Yeah, I got a message saying, "Can we lock it in? Can we put some dates on the books?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure as you can fit in 500 people, absolutely we will."
Right.
Mm.
Ridiculous.
So yes, I've been getting some nice calls.
So tell me how this works. Do
All right.
you oh, you were gonna say something, some complaint someone sent. Did
Yeah,
you
you
say
want to
that?
hear it? It's really, yeah,
Yes,
I'm
I
going to
wanna
find
hear.
it.
It's always like those negative
Uh,
tweets people have to read about themselves. It's like, "Really?"
I know I shouldn't do it, but it's funny. Okay. So let me just tell you the joke I did. I said, I don't, and then I'll tell you what this woman said. It's hilarious. It's so insane. I love it.
Is this
She
about
said,
the man not touching you didn't want a man to touch your belly?
yes, did you?
I love
Yes.
that, yeah.
I said, I don't want to be a cougar. I don't need some young hot guy named Chad touching my belly fat going, ew, what's this? This, and I look at my fat belly. I say, this is rage covered by affordable treats and wine from Trader Joe's. That's
I
what this
love
is.
that.
Mm,
So
and I
funny.
said, you know what? Yeah, that came because my doctor said to me one day, I was getting, my stomach was a bit big. Turned out there was all these benign growths on my liver. So my stomach was
Mhm.
distended. And I'm thinking, oh, it's middle age. She goes, what is this? I go, I don't know, affordable treats and wine from Trader Joe's. Just no. So that's where the comedy comes from. You remember
Uh-huh.
that. But, and then I said, I want a guy around 86. We're on the hottest thing between him and death. Um, him and death. He doesn't want to, he's not looking over his shoulder for somebody younger and hotter because he has arthritis in his neck. He has to move his whole body. And I'm going to spot that. And he doesn't see any of my flaws. Why? Because he has cataracts. And I look into
Mhm.
his milky white eyes and I say, I love you, because he's hard of hearing. Okay. So that's the guy I want. So I can feel good about me. Here's what this lunatic named Jennifer wrote. Maureen is very offensive to many.
Oh.
Making fun of her, and this is quote, her temporary man with severe medical issues is not funny at all. If you are a caretaker, nurse, doctor, loved one of a family member, you will understand this. These conditions she spoke of are serious. Her grammar's terrible. These conditions she spoke of is, this is not how I speak. These
Yeah.
conditions she speaks of are serious, and the ones who deal with this would not think it is funny at all. Well, here, let's pull this apart here. Um, I forget her like that. She's stupid. Like she can't spell. But Maureen is very offensive to many. Making fun of, quote, her temporary man's medical issues. It's a make believe person. It's a
Yeah.
make believe person. It's not a real person. Hilarious. I just think that's, I just want
I
to
mean,
share that.
obviously, this is not who you're trying to connect with. People need to have a sense of
No,
humor. I mean, if you don't go
right.
into it with a sense of humor, being able to laugh at age, being able to laugh at ourselves, being able to, laugh at things we experience as women, then then
Mhm.
you then this is not for you because you have to at least come to it of a place with an open heart and a desire to connect with you.
Well, that's the whole point about having followers, and they come to see you,
Yeah.
and we have much better of a time. Like, I have some really dark jokes about having miscarriages,
Yeah.
and you knew when I had my first one. And, I won't do the harsh version of it, but people said, you know why you had so many? I go, yeah, every time the Kardashians got renewed, my kid took itself out, but it's dark. But if you're with people who get you and they know that
Yeah.
you use dark humor to deal with pain,
Right.
like this lady, I can't have her at my show. Like, I
No.
can't, ain't nobody got time for that.
No, really.
But
It's
she potentially could, yeah,
I mean, I
she could
guess,
potentially
yeah.
have been there. Go ahead. Yeah,
But
sorry.
imagine being that person that goes through life that's offended by everything.
Hate people.
Kim was asking if you could please repeat the name of the venue in Santa Rosa.
It's called Barrel Proof Lounge, or Barrel. I don't know if they're calling it a winery. Barrel Proof. Just put in. I'm going to look it up because I want to give them a shout out. Barrel Proof
Like
Lounge,
Barrel, Barrel
like
Proof
a
Lounge.
barrel. Yeah,
Yeah.
Barrel Proof Lounge. Barrel Proof Lounge, and they just do cool stuff. And I think it's Barrel Proof in Santa Rosa. I've been there many times, so I try to support.
Heather
Yeah,
writes,
Barrel Proof Lounge, Santa Rosa.
Heather writes, if I couldn't laugh at awful things, I die of anxiety.
Mm.
And it's funny, I worked when I was in college, I was working in an emergency room. And
You were?
I did. I worked at a trauma center near
You
UC
did?
Davis. And I will say that the gallows humor
Mhm.
used to kind of get through horrible
Mhm.
situations,
Mhm.
people would be
Mhm.
aghast if they heard the
Mhm.
jokes that were
Mhm.
made, but it wasn't
Right.
made at the expense of people. It was made to
Mhm.
laugh instead of cry, honestly.
Yeah.
And
I
sometimes I
Mhm.
think you have to find the humor in it as a survival technique.
Kim, I so agree. It's that's but some people don't get that. Dark humor is just a release. Some people paint, some people run, some people use humor, and all these people getting so offended, it makes me insane.
John was giving you some material here. He says he always
Yeah.
jokes about how long it takes him to stop hurting after he gets out of bed in the morning. Yeah.
But, to the other side of this, oh, another shout out, if we can. Somebody is saying that we connected at Murphy's Irish Pub in Sonoma.
Yeah.
Murphy's Irish Pub has a little side room where they have been so gracious when I was working out my solo show or getting some new stand up brushed off and going. I really want people to go support Murphy's Irish Pub, and Dermot runs the place.
In the
Really good
town of
people there.
Sonoma. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, great people, great beer, great food, great atmosphere. Love it. So I just want to give a shout out. Tell them Mo sent you, and I don't know if that'll help you.
So tell me what happens now. You have passed I'm sorry if it's a spoiler alert because I know I already wrecked it for Wes who taped you and hasn't watched it yet. But you've passed the first round and then you
Yes.
go back until you don't pass, or how is the show? What's the rules? What are the rules?
Okay, so I'll tell you what I do know. What I know is after I taped my audition at the end of March, I was the first weekend of auditions, and it went well, as you saw, in front of 1,500 people, and the judges, very professional atmosphere, wonderful. They then tell you they will let you know when your episode is airing and when you are going to be pushed through.
Mhm.
However, I didn't know if me, but there are instances in which certain people won't air even though they were told yes. Who knows why? There might be circumstances that arise behind the scenes that we don't know about. The judges and the producers huddle over all the people that they passed or didn't pass and just look at take a deeper dive, I guess.
Mhm.
So I did not even know if mine would air. I found out last week, but I assumed it would but she said that there's always that 1.1% chance it might not. Who knows what that is. So
Mhm.
now I just sit and wait. I have no idea what's next. I know that the auditions go through July, and then I know that they tape but the next round in August and I think early September, I believe.
Okay.
So I wait to hear from that. And I don't know how many rounds there are. I think they've changed it. I think there used to be uh 4 rounds or semi quarter final quarter semi,
Oh.
and I don't know. I think there's fewer rounds, I think.
So
I
I
think
wonder,
so.
has a comedian ever won the whole shebang?
No, no, but a good friend of mine came in second. He came so close.
Oh,
Tom
okay.
Tom Cotter, Cotter, and his wife Carrie Louise is a comedian. They're both fantastic. They're friends. I love them. Tom came in second because a group of dogs. I don't know if the dogs contort, swim, twirl in the air. And so he came in second to the dogs. So if people follow me on my Facebook and Instagram, they'll see that I posted a little video of myself with my 15-year-old rescue guy. And I
Yeah.
said, Frosty, you're going to come with me because whenever a dog is involved, you win. Plus, you have cataracts and you're hard of hearing. So we'll also get a sympathy vote. Everything's going to work out.
Use what you got, you know? Use what you got.
Do you want to hear what my Irish mother said while she was waiting to see it the other night?
Please tell me.
Unless you have to go to a commercial break. I hope people are sponsoring the Nikki
N
Maduro show with Kim McAllister.
Oh,
Those of you out there who
how nice of you to
well,
mention. We're crowdfunded, so, the super chat is live, and also you can do the Patreon and the PayPal thing, and that's at thenikkimadoroshow.com. Thank you for mentioning.
yeah, I hope people do because I know what it's like having done my own podcast for years, particularly during the pandemic, being a performer. You don't know how much it helps keep shows going and alive and people it's you. It's walking
Yeah.
back. You might as well have a bucket on a street corner with a one-eyed dog. You'll make more money than trying to support yourself on a show. But anyway, I hope people support Nikki Maduro. How do they do it? How do they donate?
The NikkiMadoroShow.com.
The Nikki.
The NikkiMadoroShow.com. And of course, super chats here on YouTube where you can have some fun and throw some stickers and such as well. So,
Oh, super chat. It's super freaky. So while I was waiting for the show, my mother says to me, because the show, they have people who can contort. They have girls with no bones who twirl. They have
oh God.
5-year-old girl. They have guys burning. One guy engulfed himself in flames. Another guy danced with poles, but was dressed as like a freaky zombie. So my mother said, Jesus, Mary and Joseph, when the hell is Maureen coming out? And what are they going to do to her? Are they going to make her look like one of them?
What did your
Oh,
mom
boy.
say? Did she like what you did? Did she like your routine?
Well, you have to understand, I grew up in an Irish family. I'm from an Irish family. They don't build you up. They're like, oh, that's very good. Good for you. You're doing just fine. Good, good.
There's no
One of my
effusive
brothers,
praise. Yeah.
no,
No.
not at all. And I laughed because one brother texted me and he goes, you're good. And I said, 22 years I've been doing this. I go, was that a compliment? I just want to know if that was a compliment.
I think this is supposed to be a compliment from Square. I love all the KGO hosts, past, dead, or alive.
Oh,
So glad that we
that's
have a
hilarious.
few cherished characters with us each day. It's family. So,
Well, let me tell you one more. For High Square, that was nice. One of the things, because my mom is one of 10 children from a farm in Ireland. So I have 40 first cousins. There's 40 of us. And so somebody sent out a message to those cousins in the UK and Ireland and said, oh, our cousin's going to be on America's Got Talent. To which one replied, seriously, we have a cousin with talent. So, yeah, I don't know. They keep you humble.
what is the grand prize? If you were to win, what's the grand
Mm.
prize?
Well, I said I would back pay myself for the last 22 years and only be 10,000 a year in debt.
Oh,
But really what I would like, Kim, and I said this to them, I know, I said that what I would like is I did a television pilot called Mo Goes. Very well done. I worked with a woman who's become a good friend who uh, produced Birth the Conqueror, was on Say Yes to the Dress, did a lot of stuff on the Cooking Channel. She's produced a lot of reality television, that kind of reality,
yeah.
non-scripted is a better way to say it, non-scripted. The demo reel I think is fantastic, top-notch professionalism, quality. And an agent had seen it and said to me, "Oh, it's good, but what are we going to tell the networks about your age?"
Really?
And yeah, and I said, "Tell them I'm the most haggard 18-year-old or the hottest 90-year-old you've ever met." But
Do
it was
they not?
really,
I mean,
you
do they
know,
not
so much.
realize that there are a lot of people living in America that aren't 18? And a lot of us
And
want to, you know, don't
mhm,
mind seeing ourselves reflected on the screen or having
mhm,
someone that has our experiences or that has
mhm,
our, is
mhm,
going what we're going through. I
mhm.
just I feel that's very short-sighted.
It is, and it's not even just that we want to see ourselves reflected. And sometimes we decide that people who are in their 80s, that what they're not cool. What they came up through the hip 60s, and they were the most open-minded group of people that we know of. And there are people who come to my shows who are in college or in their 20s who get it and they're sharp. But I used it as an opportunity to pitch my show because I said I made the joke about being in debt. As a comedian, you don't make money; it costs you to
Mhm.
work. Really, it does ultimately. And I said, well, you make money, but you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
particularly the early years. So I said, really, what I would do is try to figure out a way to get my pilot Mo Goes on the air. By day, the journalist in me seeks out the fun, the heart, the smart of a city and its people. By night, we gather at a club, raise a glass, and have a lot of laughs. I did my pitch to them.
And they said,
So,
"Sounds
oh,
good."
Howard's like, that's a great idea. I love that. Mo Goes. So, yeah, I put it out there. That's what I would like. I'd like
Yeah.
to make a good living at what I do. And everything else in my life is great. I have a great guy. I'm healthy. Life is good. I like good
Yeah.
wine. I like to exercise. I don't need a whole lot more. I just want to feel financially rewarded for my hard work. And I would
Yeah.
love to see Mo Goes on the air. There, that's what we got.
I think this is also exciting. You know, it's something different to do. It's something fun, and it's something that really kind of rallies us all behind you for, for this time that you're
Oh,
on this show. And I think it's exciting. So even if everything else in your life is going wonderfully well, this is just a little cherry on your Sunday.
well, thank you. And it took me a long time to say, listen, what I have is what I have.
Mhm.
You like, I'm on this mountaintop now. What is here? I don't need to climb other mountains. Let's just be here and enjoy this, and but truly believe that my life is decent and good, and more than that.
Mhm.
But I will tell you this, because we're talking about everything being happy and easy. There's a huge vulnerability by performing in front of so many people. It's huge because you're putting yourself out there, and as much as people may love you and support you, there'll be those who will rip on you and be mean. And just to put yourself out there for that,
Yep.
because if you're going to take the love, the hate's going to be there too. So that's
Yep.
very, that,
There's
that makes you
always
feel
someone that
vulnerable.
has something negative to say, and there always will be. You could be the nicest person on the planet, you could be the funniest, you could be whatever, there's always someone. And thank you to
Hmm.
Celeste, who says Maureen's live
Yay.
show is a must-see, just great.
Oh,
Thank you for the $20 contribution to the show, Celeste, as well. I really appreciate that. Also, another
rock
contribution to the
on.
show came in while you were on from Wes, who kicked in $10 super sticker. So, yay, thank you so much, you guys. I wonder
Wow.
though, about
Yes.
you.
Oh, what, my
I
mental health, what,
no,
my hair. What do we wonder, Kim?
no, I mean, sometimes you're in New York, sometimes you're in Budapest,
Mm.
sometimes you're in the Bay Area, and how you keep up that schedule, I've often thought, "God, I don't ever go anywhere," and here Maureen's flying all over the place. She's bi-coastal, she's international. So, how do you
You're
keep this going
hilarious.
and then still do the America's Got Talent show? How does that all work?
Well, you see, I don't have children, and I love children. So
Yeah.
because I don't have them, I have the freedom to just do whatever I want whenever I want. And I love it. And I love, that's the journalist in me, loves seeking out the fun, the heart, the smart of a city and its people. That Mo Goes is so authentic to what I love
Yeah.
doing. And I'm always thinking, I'm doing it anyway. Bring a camera. That's really, I'm doing it. I'm like there. So I go on, do some comedy gigs, and it may not pay well, but I was just with gals in Croatia and Serbia and Bulgaria. Insane. And you meet people, and your world becomes bigger and smaller. You're exposed to so much more. And then yet we're just, oh my God, I can't fly to London. Oh my God, I'm flying. How far is that? Where's Croatia? America, people don't know there's countries
Yeah.
east of France and Italy, but many do, of course. So I just love it, but it is exhausting. I came back earlier once I realized AGT was happening, America's Got Talent. So I'm really, today's the first day that I don't feel like I'm totally going to collapse from exhaustion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very tired, very jet lagged. And, I met a great guy on the West Coast. We're bi-coastal, we're together, but I'm staying in New York longer. He'll come over here, part of the time, and I'll get as many gigs as I can back west, and we just make it work. When you find the right person, you sort it out.
So last question for you, because I appreciate you taking the time to chat with me.
There's a lot
Uh,
on me.
it is I know you're a journalist and have an interest in news and all things
Oh,
politics and what's been going
oh,
on. I know you have some opinions about, Trump being indicted and the boxes and where they were kept, but all these things that it's like Maureen material. But do
mm.
you, on a thing like America's Got Talent, take out the politics to appeal to a wider audience? Do you keep it just experience related instead of political?
Yeah,
Are there
no
some
politics.
topics you don't do it?
No politics. No, I'm not going to do it. It's so isolating and alienating. No, I'm not going to do it. I mean, I made an innocuous Trump joke when I was in Cape Cod. I said he was caught with a stripper. I would have been more shocked had he been caught with a book. And a whole table cursed me out and walked out. And I was like, this is insane. And I said, he loves the classics. Stop it. He does read. He loves nasty. What is it? He loves Lord of the Lies, Nasty Little Women, and Catcher in the Pussycat.
The P,
So,
yeah, uh-huh.
yeah. So, they just curse me out, and I go, so this is part of, I'm not going to do that on national television, on America's Got Talent, because I don't want to alienate people who want something else. It's
Right.
fine
Mhm.
because I have plenty of other things. I'm not compromising. I have plenty of material. It's
Mhm.
like you're going to a restaurant, you don't have to serve Mexican food in a French restaurant. You just find out
Right.
what's the right meal for that. But this is part of the reason, Kim, that I'm telling you it's important to find my people out there who to come to my show so then I can do that. We can let our hair down. We can be inappropriate. We can be political. We can talk about all those things that right now, you know, they're too alienating. But if you have your audience, then you can.
Lori is asking how it was in Eastern Europe with the war going on in Ukraine.
Well, I was, being in the Balkans, they're far enough away. But I will tell you this, Lori, what was really one of the most powerful, and if you have to jump, Kim, I don't have to tell the story, but this was one of the
No,
most
go ahead.
powerful moments. I was working with women from Bosnia, from Slovenia, Serbia, Bulgaria, and Croatia. There was a woman, lovely woman, Marina Lokar, Lorc, Lokar. I got to spell her name right because I want people to follow her if they are inclined. And I want to tell you a short story about her. If I just want to give her name right because she's a comedian, is that all right?
Yeah, please.
Um, she Loncar, Loncar, Marina Loncar, Moran. What is wrong with me? Her name's Miranda. I know this. Miranda, Miranda. There was Marina, Martina, Miranda. So I got and Maya. It's Miranda Loncar. She, a beautiful woman. She's in her 40s. She has twin girls that are about 8 years old. She was affected by the war in Bosnia. She had to go to be a refugee. She was a refugee, went to Italy. She said, though, being a refugee, at least you get to travel. But she said her daughters are named Iris and Ingrid, Iris and Ingrid, because she says if there's ever a war again, she wants them to have easy names that are easy to translate to get to where you have to go, that aren't taking time with the paperwork, that they're easy
Oh,
names. So here's this mother, like yourself, having to think about what names her children can have in case she has to get them cross borders. And it's faster and easier and simpler to understand their names.
what a whole different life experience. Wow.
I cry. I have a little video. I'm going to post that. I'm going to post that on YouTube and on my Facebook page within probably next week. It was so powerful, and she shared that with me. And so being there and watching, I went to places. I have more stuff I'm going to post. Just one little town we went to, Ostriak. I'll write it down. But that was where a lot of stuff happened. A lot of bullet holes in the walls and different things because it was on Eastern Croatia. Oh my goodness. So to hear they're more affected. For us, war is a theory. For them, it's not. And they all think we're
Well,
insane too with this whole Trump stuff
oh
and
yeah.
book banning. And like they're like, what is wrong with you people? I'm like, please
I'm
don't
sure they
lump all of us together.
look at America and go, okay, they're going crazy. Maureen
Oh yeah, they
Langan,
think there's something.
I am crazy for you. I am absolutely wild for this whole America's Got Talent thing to play out, and I am rooting for you for the big win. And
Uh,
again, I don't know what the
oh,
cash prize
thank
is,
you.
but I want you to get all the money, all of it.
Oh, you're sweet. I want it just to be a great experience. I want people to please follow me on Facebook at Maureen Langan and Instagram Maureen Langan. But Kim, I want to say this to you. You are truly one of the finest, smartest, kindest human beings I've ever met, had the pleasure to work
Mm.
with. And if anybody ever said they didn't like you, then I would know they're a lunatic. Like I would just know that.
Maureen, I love you. All the best.
Mwah, you
We'll be
too, sweetheart.
watching. Please, whenever you want, you come back on the show and talk about your experience and what you're doing next and promote whatever you've got coming up. You're always welcome here.
Well, thank you, my darling Clementine. Thank you for your patience and my finally getting on with you. Mwah.
Bye. Maureen Langan, everybody. What an exciting moment for the show as she is on America's Got Talent. And I had been trying to get her on the show. And finally, today, I sent her a link and said, anytime you want to pop in, please do. If you have time for us, we'll take you whenever. So glad to see Maureen Langan today. And again, rooting for her on America's Got Talent. I have another guest I'm excited to introduce to you. You may think he's a little familiar. Yes, you may have seen him on the Mark Thompson Show and here on the Nikki Maduro Show. He's our regular, former USA Today columnist, knows about all things tech. It is Jefferson Graham. Hi.
My darling Clementine, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you today? Looking good behind the road.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. So a lot of tech things are happening, and I was fascinated when you said on Mark's show earlier that we can actually video conference with help desk people when we have a problem. And I had
Yeah.
never even considered it.
Right, and they don't tell you that, it's totally hidden, and I did it out of frustration where I was doing this chat session with somebody, and it just went on, and "I don't understand, give me more information, go shoot a video, go do this, go do that, go do this," and it was going on forever, and finally I said, "Look, would you do a video chat with me?" "Sure, let's set it up right now," and the guy jumps right on, and, problem solved, problem solved. They won't
Nice.
ask you if you wanna do it, you have to ask them.
Another story that I wanted to talk about. Do you ever go on that website Nextdoor?
I did it, today,
There's a lot
in
always
preparation.
people bitching about something. There's always people complaining, saying the most outlandish thing. It's supposed to be a way for neighbors to connect, but often it's a way for neighbors to fight online about everything. Sometimes you'll see like a lost dog or come get some free lemons. Other times, it's people just sniping at each other. But there's news
Well,
about Nextdoor today.
okay, but it's a way for people to be next door neighbors without looking anyone in the eye and for saying what's really on their mind and hiding behind and not having to suffer the consequences of Kim, your kids are really getting loud and they're
Yeah.
keeping me up at night and I find it obnoxious. And why do they wear those clothes in the first place? And they're an embarrassment to the neighborhood. Well, no, I would never tell you any of those things, but I might write something down.
Why? If
I
you were
would
my neighbor, I would want you to say, "Hey, I'm having problems with the noise. Maybe we can work together to have a solution here."
Yeah, well,
I mean,
it's never worked for me. I've tried with the
mm,
noise level in my neighborhood and all those awful leaf blowers. I have tried and I've gotten nowhere. But anyway, yeah, the
mm.
news was something stock related for which I am not an expert. But you want to tell everybody what that is? That
Yeah, so what they're saying is they're gonna join the Russell 3000 index next week, Nextdoor is. They say that, they're going to be added during the index's annual reconstitution, which will be effective after US markets open Monday. I'd not heard of the Russell 3000 index. I mean, I've heard of it, but I didn't really know a lot about it. I guess it is comprised of the 4,000 largest US stocks, and it ranks them by total market capitalization in both the Russell 3000 and the Russell Microcap indexes. So,
Okay, news to me. I would have assumed that it was small stocks. So shows you what I know. But what it does say is that this next door thing that we all think is a cesspool is definitely gaining ground, and people really like it. Now, when I checked it today, it was my cat was lost, and somebody tried to ransom me $200 to get the cat back. It was let's see. A woman was caught on camera pooping on the front lawn of the school.
oh my.
Let's put her picture up there and shame her. This person that I got video footage of was caught stealing my package from the front yard. Let's go get him. So it's like the end of the movie Frankenstein. Anybody who remembers when the big mob scene all gets together and tries to run the no good barman, Dr. Frankenstein, out of town. It's a scary place. I think it's a little better than it used to be. It used to be I saw this dark person standing on the corner last night, and that person had no right being there. Did anybody else see him? And what's he doing in our neighborhood?
Oh,
A
Lord.
lot of
It's like,
stuff
do you
like
not have
that.
any time other than to dedicate to that? That's what you need to focus on?
Yeah.
Yeah. People shock me. All
So
right, let's
I try to stay away from there. Yeah.
yeah. I sometimes they have they send you the email of the latest headlines or the latest things that people have posted, and sometimes they'll make me click on it. And then when I do, inevitably, it's about news from a town over or a
Right.
neighborhood I don't live in.
Right.
And so I don't know. I'm
I saw
frustrated
one
with
on
it.
there today from North Dakota. It's like, what am
Why
I doing looking at North Dakota?
yeah, the content isn't even what you need it to be. But let's move on to I think one of your favorite topics, which is Apple products.
Yeah. Okay.
Your Apple ID is apparently about to kill off the password. This will be coming in iOS 17. So right now, I guess you could either have a password, you could use your thumbprint, you could use your face, but the password's going away.
Supposedly, I'll believe it when I see it. It's this thing called passkeys, which associates your account with Face ID and Touch ID, and Google's using it now, and it's hit and miss. I don't know if you've had the troubles that I've had, but associate your phone with your fingerprint. Sorry, we don't recognize your finger. Associate it with your face. Sorry, we don't recognize your face. So this is another thing that they're going to be trying. Let's hope it works. I'm so sick of passwords. I am so sick of typing them in. Anything we could do to get rid of them, I'll be happy. The one where they say sign in and we'll send you a text and you type in the code, I'm fine with that. Great. As long as I don't have to remember the nonstop ones and be told that they don't work anymore. And then one more thing on passwords. I don't know about you, but half these sites I sign up and I don't even bother writing them down. I just go to forget password and get a new one. So
Yeah. Yeah, because there's just so many to remember. And unless you, stupidly use the same one for every website, which is not recommended, then you do have to click on remember password because unless you have a little piece of paper written down right next to your computer, which is, not with you when you're on the go, then you're never going to remember all that stuff.
yeah, and that's fine for websites and the computer and even the phone, but it's the TV. It's the TV that's really tough. You have to go onto Netflix on the TV, forgot my password, get a new password, type it in, and hope that it remembers you for next time. It's the TV ones. I don't know about you. You watch a lot of TV?
I watch some in the evening, but it's on the television and all the passwords are already locked in, so I never
Yeah.
have to put in anything. Yeah.
They're locked in until you want to watch Netflix on your iPad and you can't remember your password, and then
Oh,
they make you change it, and then on the TV you have to change it again.
oh God. Um, I use a passcode on my iPhone, and sometimes my kids use my phone or want to answer it or want to, look at something, which is fine because we all know the rules in our house. But if there's a thumbprint or a picture only, they won't be able to. So it
Right.
kind of limits the use of the phone in my estimation. But hey, I guess we all have to go along with whatever Apple is throwing at us next,
I
right? That's
think
just
you
the way
could
it
always
goes.
go to the manual password as an override. Though I had a terrible situation. I bought this Samsung Galaxy
Yeah.
phone and I bought it used. Okay. I have $400 for a used phone on Amazon. Pretty good, except that it wasn't wiped clean. And
Uh-oh.
when it got to me, it still was associated with the previous guy in San Francisco. And then you try to do something, and they say, "Well, we're going to send you a text message so you can get through." But it would be sent to this guy's 415 number in San Francisco,
Oh,
and
man.
there was nothing I could do. And I finally called Samsung, spent an hour with them on the phone, and we got it supposedly resolved until last week when I tried to do something on Samsung.com. And again, it was sending the text to that 415 number. So when you buy a used phone, think about that.
Yeah.
I'm trading it back in. I'm getting the new one because it's ridiculous.
I loved my Samsung Galaxy when I had that. I only recently switched to the iPhone, and I think that was my favorite phone. I like the Google Pixel as well, but the Samsung Galaxy always took the best pictures. So,
Okay. Well, we'll
um,
see. The reason I have it is because I will always tell people, here's how to do it on the iPhone. And they'll say, yeah,
yeah.
but how do I do it on the Galaxies? And I wanted to know. So now I know.
Do you ever use OpenTable to make reservations?
I've used it a few times, and there's a
Yeah.
scam that we have to tell people about is that if you get a call from the restaurant and they say, hey, we understand you made a reservation tonight and we just need some more information, like what's your credit card number?
Yeah.
That's a scam. That's a bad scam. And so don't give it. Say, you know what? I'm going to call the restaurant directly myself. Thank you. And who's going to pay for dinner ahead of time? It's not done.
Well, okay, there are some times where you make a reservation at a restaurant and they do need a credit card number to hold that reservation so that if you don't show up, they'll charge you a fee because you are taking up table space that they could otherwise give away. I have seen that happen before. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that something like Open Table would then call and say, hey, you made a reservation. I need your credit card number. But yeah, don't do it.
Okay, well, I don't know what circles you're in, but that's never happened to me. I've
Oh, I'm in
never
the
been asked for a
fancy.
credit card at a restaurant, and
Yeah.
and if they asked me, I'd say, "Fine, I'll go somewhere else. Thank you very much." I
I'm in
can't
the
imagine any
fancy
restaurant I'd
circles.
want to go to that would give the
Yeah.
credit card out to.
Um, I just was reading the story earlier on Mark's show that Elon Musk has invited Mark Zuckerberg to a cage match. They've been kind of going back and forth. It's been a little brutal. They've been sniping at each other. And now Twitter owner Elon Musk says he's up for a cage match fight with Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg. He's suggesting the Vegas Octagon as the location. This after they've been kind of, I don't know, sniping back and forth at each other. I guess Meta is working on a standalone text-based social network that would compete with Twitter, so that's what started all this. But I think Musk is biting off more than he can chew because Mark Zuckerberg he's a fighter. He's a jujitsu student. He has won championships. He's an athlete. I think if Musk, despite his assertion that he's perfected a move called the walrus, which would allow him just to lay on his opponent so they couldn't move, I think Zuckerberg's gonna if it was Musk versus Zuck, I think Zuck wins. What do you think?
I do, but I also don't think it'll ever happen. So I think you can take that one to the bank. I don't think. Now remember, Facebook is a publicly listed corporation. Says the guy who says he doesn't know anything about stocks, but it's and there's no way that his board of directors and his advisors are going to allow him to do something like this. Musk can do whatever he wants, but I put Musk in the category of the neighbor that I was just telling you about that hides behind their computer and writes off nasty notes, but would never say anything like this to your face. And just never going to happen. They could go back and forth. I don't think Zuckerberg is going to want to give him the press because Twitter is a shell of what it once was. And I think if Facebook actually came up with something, they got a lot of people there. I mean, Facebook is not what it was either, but I think they could make a go of something in a way that that Musk is not doing at Twitter.
I don't know. I think they will have this fight. I think Zuckerberg probably can't wait to get Musk in the ring. And Elon is a chicken, says Calvin. Musk is a troll. I think they will. I think Musk is so like Trumpish when it comes to making these outlandish things, and that they're also both kind of, I don't know, alternative-y and fun, that I bet they do it just to, for something fun to do.
Okay.
I don't
Great.
know.
I'll be watching, and all the money will go to charity, right?
Yeah, why not? I do have to pick Mark Zuckerberg for the win, though. I really think he would
Definitely.
come out, even though I think Musk outweighs Zuckerberg. I think Zuck with his jujitsu training will pull out a win.
I think that Zuckerberg is what, a good 15 years younger as well,
Yeah. So
at
someone was
least.
asking about the age, but I think so. I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
looking at
because
yeah.
Musk was the co-founder of PayPal a good 10 years before there was a Facebook. So, yeah.
Um have you been watching what's going on with Spotify and this whole clash between Spotify and Prince Harry and Meghan Markle? They have this $20 million contract to provide podcasts, which I guess they only provided 12. And now the contract is done. I don't know if they got the 20 million for only the 12 podcasts, but it's over. Whatever relationship they had is severed. The former CEO has called them grifters and talked about how he had to help them with the podcast and how they didn't know what they were doing. It's interesting, this whole thing.
I haven't been following it, but who's the former CEO? You're not. Spotify still has the same CEO, Daniel Ek. So
Yeah, I think that's who I mean. My apologies. Yes.
he called them grifters.
Yeah, grifters.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's going to help get more talent for the network. Well, they really don't care at this point. They've sort of given up on podcasts. They spent a lot of money, and it didn't pay off for them. And I think the only one that does pay off for them is Joe Rogan, which is nothing but a royal headache for the PR department with their 3-hour interview with RFK and things like that. So.
Yeah, and also they've had to cut a lot of money out of their whole podcast thing. They've recently did a lot of cuts, and so maybe they're not going to focus on that anymore.
Yeah, I think music is where it's at for them. But I still listen to podcasts every day. I still make one every week,
Do you?
and I don't listen to the radio like I used to. I listen to
Yeah.
podcasts while I'm driving.
It was
How
Bill
about you? I
Simon's.
mean,
It was Bill's.
you've been in
Oh,
radio for all these years. I mean, when you're driving to work or wherever you go, do you listen to the radio or do you listen to podcasts?
it depends. First thing I usually do is turn on the radio. I want the news and I want to know what's happening. My kids are often in the car, so I'll click on to a local music station. But there are times when I'm on a longer ride where maybe there's something I haven't heard that I'm interested in that I'll do podcasts. So yeah, it just
Okay,
depends. By the way, that was Bill Simmons, head of podcast innovation and monetization at Spotify, who made the
right.
grifter comment. Yeah, so just
Yeah,
wanted to
and he's
clarify.
a longtime podcaster, blogger, who's well known in the sports world. So I think he has the freedom to refer to people like that in a way that Daniel Ek, the CEO of Spotify, does not.
They also, Meghan and Prince Harry tried to get the copyright for the name of the podcast, which is Archetype. They wanted to trademark it, and they were denied because someone else already owns that trademark of Archetype. So that's the latest with
Okay.
them.
Well, they could have
Yeah,
called it our archetype, right?
I guess they could do that. I don't know. Oh, Jefferson Graham, I always enjoy it when you stop by the show. You're super
Thank you.
awesome.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for
We
being
got to fix
here.
your webcam. We got to fix your
I
webcam.
know because it at least, well, I would say at least 4 times on Mark's show, it took a dive, and then the minute I started the show today on Nikki's show, it took a dive, so I don't know. And it always, of course, catches me in the very worst moment where, like, my mouth's half open and my eyes are closed and my head's weird. Yeah.
And it just freezes. It just freezes
Freeze
out of the blue.
it freezes, but you can still hear me. So, I don't know what's
Okay.
going on.
Have you tried doing the show in other areas of the house just to see what would happen?
Other areas of the house are gonna have kid noises because everyone's home for summer. So this is my
Okay.
only spot, and it's actually right next to my wireless connector and the router and everything else. So,
What
yeah.
about being wired? Have you tried
Oh,
that?
I'm wired. It is wired also. Yes.
So you're wired and it still freezes.
Yeah.
Have
Yeah.
you called StreamYard and said, "Hey, what do you suggest for me?"
I guess I should do that, huh?
Yeah.
That's next stop StreamYard.
Why don't you do a screen grab right now of us, and then you could just send them that because they'll ask for something, and you have the proof that you do not have your picture up there.
Well, then you'll have to see how awful I look. Are you ready?
No, it's a frame grab. You're already there.
No, I have to show you my see how when I stopped, my eyes are
Okay.
closed, my yeah.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, so thank you, Jefferson Graham. I appreciate all of your advice and for you hanging out on the show with us on Thursdays. And I hope that we get to see you again next week.
You'll see me next week.
Thank you. I'll talk to you
Bye bye.
soon. Bye. Jefferson Graham, everybody. Yeah. Kim does say that happens far too often. You want me to put up the frozen? You're just mean. Mean, mean, mean. Thank you, Mindy. I'll take the photo over that moment. So yes, I do need to investigate getting that fixed because it's super annoying. At the beginning, when we started all this, it was my audio that was cutting out. Now that's fixed. Now it's my video that's cutting out. So we'll figure it out and hopefully get a no for a screen grab. No, I don't want to do it. Okay, get a new webcam. Yeah, that might be a. I maybe that's it. I don't know. All right. So there were some stories that I wanted to talk to you guys about today that I thought were really interesting. First of all, did you see this whole fight between Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert? I tell you what, I have video. Let's go to
Take your conversations to the back, off the floor. For what purpose does the gentlewoman order, please? For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Florida, Mrs. Luna, seek recognition?
Miss
you know when the finger pointing comes out, it's bad. So they're in a heated discussion on the house floor. It is not going well. It was a so-called heated exchange, and there was some swearing going on and some pointing. The story from Business Insider is that Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene would like people to know that yes, she did use a naughty word during a confrontation with uh, Representative Lauren Boebert of Colorado. These two at one point were allies. You know, they're very similar. They're very, I would actually call them nasty, rude ladies. But yes, so they one time were buddies and now not so much. Green says, and this is a quote, she says of Boebert, she has genuinely been a nasty little bitch to me. That's what she said. She said, I told her exactly what I think about her, adding she would absolutely not be reconciling with her House Freedom Caucus colleague. As they had this exchange over articles of impeachment against President Joe Biden. Lauren Boebert introduced the articles on Tuesday night. Green, who also filed articles of impeachment against Biden, accused Boebert of copying her legislation. Boebert denies doing so. Green tells Boebert, I have donated to you, I have defended you, and you copied my articles of impeachment after I asked you to co-sponsor them. While Green is still going after Boebert, the Colorado Republican apparently wants to put this away before any more damage is done. Lauren Boebert's quote is, Marjorie is not my enemy. I came here to protect our children and their posterity. Joe Biden and the Democrats are destroying our country. My priorities are to correct their bad policies and save America. Like I said, I'm not in middle school, she says of Green. So apparently these two ladies, Boebert and Green, have been fighting for a few months now. They had a confrontation in a bathroom on Capitol Hill over uh, Green's confronting Boebert over Boebert not wanting to vote for Representative Kevin McCarthy for Speaker. So this is not their first moment where they have gone at each other, I guess. Green has also lashed out at Matt Gaetz of Florida during the speaker vote. She thinks she's the only and the leading MAGA voice in Congress. Uh, Green has resolved to fight it out with her GOP colleagues. She says, I'm telling you, I have always said, I am not afraid of the civil war in the GOP. I lean into it. That's what she says. So a little cat fight with some swearing and some pointing and some fun times on the House floor. I would say that's unprofessional. I don't know. Amusing, yet unprofessional, in my opinion. Uh, Meanwhile, Ron DeSantis was in San Francisco. Well, he was in California and then in San Francisco as he was campaigning for president. And he, of course, took the opportunity, as he would do, to uh, say bad things about San Francisco, right? That's what he's about. Let's blame the Democrats in charge of San Francisco for all the problems. We can't look at the pandemic. We can't look at anything else that may have affected it. We're just going to come out swinging against Democrats right away. So let's take a look at this video that he posted while he is standing in San Francisco and then just basically ripping it to shreds. Here's what I got for you. Let's see if I can show you this video. Uh, Here it is. Of course, we have to wait now for it. And some of the stuff he said is true, but I think that it's him saying it just offended me even more. See if I can't get it to play. No, it's not going to work out for me, is it? No. He says, we're here in the once great city of San Francisco. He talks about people defecating, trash all over the streets, people doing drugs out in the open. He basically just goes on this tear about San Francisco. And again, maybe what he said is not wrong. Maybe what he said has some merit. But I think that it's bad form to go to a city and do that, to go to a city and blame like that. Let's see if I can get it up here again for you guys. Maybe I'll give it one more shot. Yeah. Okay.
Advocating on the street. We saw people using heroin. We saw people smoking crack cocaine. And you look around, the city is not vibrant anymore. It's really collapsed because of leftist policies. And these policies have caused people to flee this area. They don't prosecute criminals like they do in most parts of the country. And the wreckage has really, really been sad to see. And so I've seen so many businesses boarded up. I've seen so much riffraff just running around, and it just shows you these policies matter. Leadership matters. They are doing it wrong here. No wonder why we've had so many people move from San Francisco to Florida over the last few years. We got to stop this madness. We need to restore sanity to this country.
Yeah. You know what's insane? Insane is telling your school teachers and people in your state not to say gay, not to be able to tell kids about different ways of living, even in high school. Kids that, are struggling and may need to know. Insane is going against Disney, one of the biggest employers in your state. I could go on and on about insane. You're no perfect leader either, DeSantis. And so, does San Francisco have problems? Absolutely. Does Florida have problems? Absolutely, it does. There's homeless people in Florida too. There's garbage in Florida too. So, I just really highly take offense to Ron DeSantis popping his nasty Florida rear end in our community, in our Bay Area, in our city, and talking smack. So there, Ron DeSantis. Yeah, move to Florida. Wahaha. Well, some people have moved to Florida. It's a lot cheaper, right? And if you're not a woman, and you don't have to deal with the laws that would strip you of your freedoms, then I guess it's all right. Wes wants me to know that he just got slapped by the court. He was banning trans medical care and it got shot down. That's right. He has no leadership, says Liz. Let's dissect Florida, see what's going on there. Right. Uh I just, pick the dirtiest spot in San Francisco. We all know. We've been there, and you've heard me complain about San Francisco and walking past homeless people on the way to KGO formerly. It's, as I said, not perfect, but there are parts of San Francisco that are perfect and that are beautiful and that are home to us. And I'm offended. I'm offended. And if you were here for the California vote, which you weren't getting anyway, you're certainly not getting it now. Yeah, Wes says he picked a nice dirty corner, I see. He also, as there was somebody banging on something in the background, or were we supposed to think that was gunshots or something? Okay, Karen, you have a point. Maybe it was tit for tat. Newsom will show up in Florida at a homeless encampment. They've got them there too. So yes, Newsom did go to Florida to point things out as well. Yeah. And I hope, Karen, that he does go back to Florida and point out all the shortcomings of Ron DeSantis. Absolutely. Yeah. Um, Chris is complaining that I can't play a video. I'm in the North Bay, not San Francisco, but it happens everywhere that sometimes there's a buffering. So that's what happened to me. And Chris also says stepping over bodies to get into KGO. Well, there was a homeless guy who lived in a doorway that was in the parking garage area of KGO. So I had to, and when I arrived from morning drive, Chris, it was dark. And so I always made sure I knew where he was just in case. He was a kind of one that was talking to himself all the time. So, you had to keep your wits about you. And I always made sure I knew where he was and would run right into the station to avoid any trouble. So, that's the way it goes sometimes in San Francisco. Are there homeless people everywhere in the city? No. I mean, I imagine there's neighborhoods where that's not the case. But Wes says the same things happen in Orlando. It happens out of sight because we have a lot more space than San Francisco. Karen says a lot of the downtown tourist areas have gotten hit because of the bros being gone. Adios to them, but we'll bounce back. And yeah, Cheryl, true. You think it's payback for Gavin criticizing Florida? He's a child that can't take criticism. Right on. John supporting me in the buffering. He says I get a buffering from YouTube and I've got a 1 gigabyte connection. So yeah, thank you for that. Kim, maybe Gavin can go to Florida and support a drag story hour. In your face, DeSantis. It's just offensive, and I wanted to make sure that you knew that DeSantis had come here, and it's when you're in someone else's house, you don't do that. I don't think you do that. I feel it was rude. Another story I wanted to bring to your attention today is that this new of quote chicken. Have you heard about this? This is lab grown chicken. For the first time ever, the US Department of Agriculture approving 2 Bay Area-based companies to offer lab-grown chicken. So this is 2 Bay Area companies, Upside Foods of Emeryville and Good Meat of Alameda, the first 2 food production companies that are approved to produce and sell, quote, meat made from cultivating animal cells. So I here's how it works. Upside Foods has a co-founder who was a cardiologist at the Mayo Clinic when he started experimenting with growing animal cells in a controlled environment. Yeah, this is it's just interesting because what they're doing is um, growing this so-called chicken in a dish, I guess, and then it tastes just like chicken. It is chicken. I don't know. So they now have this production facility. He calls it Dr. Uma Valetti, the biggest moment in the history of food and meat in the last 100 years. He says, I think meat production will never be the same again. So groundbreaking, earth shattering, a whole new way to procure chicken. It's tender, he says. It's juicy. It smells, it looks, and it tastes like chicken. It's real meat. And the US government agrees with us that our product is ready for the US market. Over in Alameda, at Beyond Meat, they have uh, I guess vegetable-based foods that resemble the taste of beef, unlike Beyond Meat rather. So their meat has its origin in chicken and not vegetables. Valetti is saying the benefits of cultivated chicken, including eliminating the need to slaughter 70 billion chickens a year in order to deliver meat tables around the world, is a good thing. It's a way of making meat using less resources so everyone can eat. They call it very exciting because it marks the first day companies can start producing this chicken for sale for American consumers. Would you eat the meat grown in a lab dish? People have such a problem with GMO produced food. Is its DNA different? Is it not natural? Is that going to do something to us? There are many benefits as well to GMO food, I guess one could say. Costs less to produce. You can build things right into the DNA to have them be pesticide resistant instead of spraying pesticides all over it. San Francisco-based Bar Kren partnering with Upside Foods to serve meals using the cultivated chicken in the coming weeks. There's a restaurant in Washington, D.C., who they've already committed to buying it and serving it to their customers. So this company is going to be the very first to work with restaurants to introduce this product. They say it'll take about 2 years before consumers will see the chicken, in quotes, on store shelves. So what do you think? This is Upside Foods and Good Meat of Alameda. These are the first 2 companies allowed to produce and sell this meat made from cultivating animal cells. Has the future arrived? Do you feel weird about eating it? Am I kind of freaking out just a little bit, or is this kind of normal? Square says, looks legit, and McDonald's will be on the leading edge, probably with the chicken nuggets. John says eventually they'll be able to grow meats with bones in it. Ooh. Lori writing, good. If it tastes right, has the protein, and doesn't hurt animals without killing the environment, I'm all for it. And make it affordable, says Lori. John says, it's just meat. The animal grows cells too. They're just doing it in a vat. Yeah. Good meat, sir. Right, Square. Oh no, it says Karen D. Not lab grown. Yuck. No. Wes is not for it. We get an ew from him. Maybe you have to try it before you ew it. I don't know. I'm on the same page with you, Wes. I backpedal a little bit from it. Then you read what Lori says, and it's true. You don't have to kill animals. Better for the environment. Yeah. Square, no hormones. We don't want girls and boys maturing too rapidly. But what if it has some kind of side effect? Like, don't they have to test it first before they serve it to people? I don't know. If you eat I'll go to Wes. I love meat and to cook, but I know it's a cruelty to animals, so I would support it. Okay. Chris is going to pass on the Frankenfood. Square likes the protein and says, I'll try it. John thinks I'm freaking out over nothing. It's just meat. Calvin loves the Impossible Burger, so might as well try this one as well, right? Cheryl, I would not eat it. I would not eat it, she says. Why, Cheryl? I'm putting this in the chat. I want you to come on and tell me why or explain why you wouldn't eat it. So I put the link to click on if you want to come and discuss with me. OCB says, I'll name my chicken coop the lab, and then I can call them lab grown. You think Nikki should try it on her Friday food? It's going to be a while before we can get a hold of it. Or maybe we have to drive over to, what is it? Good Meat? Good Meat. Maybe that's what we have to do. Drive over there and give them a test taste. I don't know. Upside Foods is the one that's going to be the first. Upside Food in Emeryville and Good Meat in Alameda doing this lab grown chicken. Yeah. We'll make meat so disgusting, says Chris, that everyone will go vegan. John wants to know, okay, would you rather eat lab-grown chicken that eats lizards and poop from other chickens? Oh, would I rather eat the lab-grown, or would I rather eat the chicken that lives this way? I don't know. It's natural, right? Oh. I'll wait for everyone else to try it before I do. I like the way you think, Liz. Absolutely. Let everyone else check it out first. You get all the opinions. If someone's going to have a problem with it, they're going to have it first, right? I welcome Jim to the show. Jim, hi. Are you eating the lab-grown chicken? Is that what's happening over there?
No. They lunch.
Tasty, delicious. Yeah. Are you going to try this lab-grown chicken when you have an opportunity?
Yes. And I did the same thing with eating Beyond Meat and all those other alternate meats. And I have actually gotten paid to try lab grown chicken when I was in other states going to college classes with my friends and so on. I think I did it in Kentucky. So I've already tried something. It did not taste anything like chicken or beef or whatever, but it didn't taste horrible. I didn't throw up or anything. It just had a weird chew. That was it.
Like a different texture or consistency?
Yeah, like the difference between a burger and a Beyond Meat and a veggie burger. They don't taste the same. Same thing. They just taste different.
Okay, but not bad different, just different.
Correct. And this is not the first time we've added protein to certain things. I don't know if you guys read my comment, but about 20 years ago, we were doing research to add proteins to rice. It's been done. Now they've grown it. Crops around the world have been feeding starving people around the world. So now when you eat a bowl of rice, you get a little bit of protein too.
And no matter where you are, like even if I go to the grocery store.
Well, I'm sorry. It's in like Africa and certain places where they have this special grown rice. They haven't brought it to the grocery stores in America yet. They might, but we don't lack protein here. There's way too many cows.
So just that it's a genetically modified organism, a GMO, doesn't necessarily make it bad. As you reference here, instead of starving, many people around the world got a hit of protein because of this type of science.
Yes. So in a way, it's already been around. So questioning its ability to feed you and keep you alive, it's more of that's been proven. So it's just taste. So if they don't make it tasty, it's just gonna die as a fad. But in 100 years, we may need this because we need to feed everyone, and not everyone can afford an organic chicken that may be $50 a pound later on because we have no space, no time, no ability to take and grow chicken for everyone.
And no water. I mean, drought is a huge issue. You know,
Water is
we
great.
kind of had a lucky winter, right? But I mean, we could slide right back into drought, and not just California, but other parts in the world of the world are already seeing that. And so, you know, if we have a different way of growing food,
Mhm.
of making food, it could be beneficial in the future. You're totally right. John writes, if you eat bananas, you're already eating clones.
You're correct. A lot of food have been cleaned up in a way so that we get the perfect apples, the beautiful bananas, not the weird looking, bumpy tomatoes. Some people still like heirloom tomatoes, but most people don't like them. We need that picture perfect food.
Uh,
Another thing is we need to start growing at least birds because they have been so susceptible to avian flu. And
mhm.
we've been actually killing millions of birds and throwing out their eggs just so it doesn't jump to humans. Because the next bad COVID is going to come from a variation of some animal jumping over to humans again.
So this is a way that we could prevent that by growing it ourselves?
Exactly. I mean, it may not taste the same. I will guarantee you, I've tasted chicken from around the world. Every chicken tastes a little different.
Hmm.
And so it might taste like another weird version of chicken, but at least you won't die by consuming it if they've already said the next avian flu means no chickens.
The lady Beatrice writes, heck no to the people. The lab grown chicken is gonna suck.
It
I
will.
guess I guess I would ask, is it still chicken? I mean, it's animal cells. So
Yeah,
it's still animal in nature. It's not plant-based like Beyond Meat or whatever.
correct.
It still has animal cells. So is it killing? Are we killing animals to eat if it's just animal
Ooh,
cells? Like, what are
ethic
the
question.
ethics?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, question one, does it have a brain? Is it intelligent? And then lastly, does it have a soul? So, ethically, I'm not a
I
priest.
love you, Jim. I
I'm
love
not
you.
going to worry about the soul part. Does it have a brain? It doesn't. It's a heart. It's a couple muscles. It's some thighs. It's extra stuff. It's like, when you grow that extra skin that you can like eventually rip off or laser off? Yeah, it's not human, but it's human cells. So if you can cut your fingernails and you can cut your little extra body parts off, you're not killing yourself. So in that way, you're not killing something.
Hmm. All right. So ethically, we think we're okay with it in
Hmm.
Jim land. Uh, it might be safe, but no way will it taste as good as regular chicken. So you were talking about the taste of chicken around the world,
Hmm.
but the taste of lab grown chicken might be even more different than that. I think we have to try it before we know, the Lady Beatrice.
Yeah, I mean, think of it as trying to pretend rice cracker is going to fulfill you as an awesome snack that's going to taste like Snickers. It's not. There's no way. You can add cinnamon, you can add sugar, you can add all sorts of stuff. You know it's a rice cracker. It is not a Snickers. So your
W-
brain will never let you convince yourself. But
Well,
the next generation, they're going to grow up on it as nuggets in a Happy Meal. They're not going to care. Eventually people will get used to that
oh,
weird taste,
it
right?
kind of that kind of freaks me out a little bit. I don't know why. I guess it's just so different to think that that's true.
Yeah, and also you have to consider this is the next science stage that we need to feed a population of 10 billion people and then put food that you can grow in the moon station, in the Mars station in the future. You can't just stop science because it might sound icky. As
We
long as
could
it's not
we
really
could grow
killing
our own
people.
chicken on the moon.
And it might be a science experiment in class in 10 years, right? Hey, instead of growing sea monkeys, I'm going to grow a chicken and I'm going to get first prize in my science fair because I did it.
Oh god, that's weird. I find all kinds of ethical issues with that, but okay. Mindy is questioning the the consistency and tenderness of the chicken, wondering if it would be hard and tough to chew.
So those two companies, I actually have a friend that worked in it, and he tried it, and he said it doesn't taste too far off from the chew.
Oh, okay. So I think we're okay. Liz questions the color of the meat. Like, are
Eh,
we gonna have blue chicken or green chicken?
no, we will fake it just like we fake all butcher meat. If you go to a grocery store and you see red, pretty meat, it's mostly carbon dioxide added to it to make it pretty and red. Most meat, when it's delivered to your grocery store, is brownish, grayish. It's not pretty to look at, but that's how it gets there.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't realize that. Uh, and that's gross too. I mean, I don't want to eat a bunch of dyes and weirdness.
No,
Lori,
it's carbon monoxide. You breathe it normally.
yeah.
Yeah.
Lori says also added vitamin A to rice to help with eye problems from vitamin deficiency. So, in
Mhm,
addition to the protein that you mentioned earlier,
mhm. Yeah,
OC,
they are adding different vitamins to different things. They're trying to make the perfect avocado, so that right now avocado provides like 20 vitamins. In
yeah.
Australia, they're cross breeding some with other vegetables, trying to get like 30 or 40 vitamins in there. So it's all possible.
OCB says GMO digests the same as anything else. Your body just doesn't care.
Right. So the only problem with that statement is how you created that GMO. And when we talk about Monsanto's, is it Monsanto's? It's that company,
Monsanto's,
yeah, that makes the
Monsanto,
weed
yeah.
killer. They're using their same chemical combination to make the corn. So we're not sure if the corn is basically ingesting weed killers, which we may already be ingesting anyways, because you can't stop it from floating in the air.
Yeah.
So it's just like when you say, "Do you eat almonds?" You know, if you eat too many almonds, you could die from that poison, but you could crossbreed it to have less of that poison, so you can eat more almonds. But 100 years ago, you wouldn't have eaten more than a pound of almonds without the threat of being poisoned by them. So it's kind of, we can make the food safe, but it'll be weird.
Heather, I think, agrees with you. She blames the food babe for the spread of all this pseudoscience and fear mongering.
Yeah. So again, do we want to feed 1 billion people, or do we want to make it tasty for like 100,000 people?
Hmm.
What are we trying to achieve here? Are we trying to achieve food sustainability so that even if you're poor, without a job, whatever, you could walk down the local corner store, pick up a blanket, pick up a couple pills, and a bite of fake chicken? Like, do you want to make it sustainable and supportable for everyone, but then it comes at that weird science cost? Or do you want to go back to only the rich can afford organic chicken in the future?
So I guess we've been so heavy into this farm to table,
Yes.
natural, all natural. It comes, you know where your food is coming from. It comes right from the farm. It's raised right, not in little cages, not in this,
Mhm.
mass produced whatnot. But especially, I don't know. I think it's all over America, this farm to table thing, but certainly here in the North Bay,
Mhm.
it has been. And so I wonder how we get away from that thought of all organic, all natural, and then we go to this science-based food. Are people going to have to be dragged kicking and screaming into it because for the last, decade ish,
Mhm.
we've been so convinced that farm to table all natural is what you want.
Okay. Let's start with the negatives of farm to table. If they're not well regulated, you do have cows that walk over the cabbage field, pee and poop on it, and then people eat that. And even though you try to clean it as much as you can, there have been so many cases of dysentery and all the other problems, salmonella, that have been coming from those directly food, farm to your table. So there is no guarantee that farm to table equals better.
Mhm.
What is better is if you don't go through the massive manufacturing process we have in place, and there's an outbreak, it affects so many people so quickly. When you have a farm in Salinas, maybe 10,000 people might eat bad lettuce. When you have a butchering meat station where they kill thousands of cows a day, send it out around the world, you may have 1 million people affected by some bad thing in the meat supply. So It's not that the farm is a better choice. It's that their impact is so little. Most people have an illusion of safety. So that is the negative of it.
Right.
Now, the positive, when you go around the world and try different foods, if I get a chicken from a regular restaurant, it was probably killed within that day. It
Mhm.
has less time to grow bacteria and be bad. It was probably killed by a local farmer who does get money directly instead of through Safeway or Kroger's or whatever, and they only get 1/10 of the value versus if they sold it to me directly or I went to their farm and they served the community that day, which they do in other countries. You can go to a farm and that farm will host something where maybe 100 people just sit down at tables. Some mom and pop is literally cutting the chicken that morning, making a stew that afternoon, and then serving it. And you have some rice, potatoes, and that's it. Very simple. It only costs like $2, $3 most of the time. Great food, but the inconvenience of driving 20 miles out to a farm every Sunday to do that kind of is not replicable. So, what is the answer? I have no idea. But
Mhm.
you can't be scared to try new science if you want to support the world. And you can't be super positive about this is the best answer farm to table or this because there's
Right.
always a negative of what you skipped or didn't do when you did the proper process.
Interesting. Some of the things Lori has been saying is she's worried about the lab process being more water intensive than we realize.
Mm,
And then she's talking about variability to taste between chickens fed different feeds as well.
yep.
So I don't know. I think it just really depends.
Okay, I will give you the best chicken I've had was in Peru and in Taiwan. And in Peru, they throw salt in their food. So the
Yeah.
chickens taste salty already without having to add any more salt to the soup. In Taiwan, the legs of the chickens are longer and stronger because they eat on the mountains. So they're
Oh,
actually bent over more, pecking farther, which strengthens their lower body. So it's not about fatty breasts and wings, it's about thick, juicy legs there. So when you cook the chicken, oh, and they're also black chickens. Underneath the feather, the skin is black,
yeah. I've seen
which
that before.
is actually tastier than white chicken in
Oh,
America to me. But
interesting. You
it's
know what
give
I've
and
learned about you today
take.
is that you're really knowledgeable on the topic of chicken and the topic of pseudo meat. OCB says I paid $18 for a double cheeseburger. If you lower the price of meat, bring it.
um, get closer to the meat source. You can go to Texas, you can go to South Dakota, and you can buy a burger for $2, $3, and it will taste just as good as your $18 burger. You might
Mhm.
not get avocado, but it'll taste like burger.
Yeah. Um, I vaccine denial people, says Cheryl, won't like this at all. I'm sure there'll be some conspiracy about what they're doing to the meat in the lab,
Oh
right?
yeah, Bill Gates chips every piece of meat.
Yeah,
There's
of course he does.
yeah.
Yes, because he wants to kill us all, right?
No,
Mhm.
control us.
Oh, mind control. That's right. My
That's right.
bad. I'm sorry.
Because
Yeah,
he
he's got
killed
to be
us, we
that.
wouldn't pay for him to do stuff.
Oh, I am so glad that you came on with me, Jim, because I feel like this has been a great conversation. And after talking to you, I think I would eat the lab grown meat. I
Yeah,
really do. Yeah. Jim, thank you
arm
for taking
yourself.
the time. I love you and adore that you came onto the show. So thank you so much.
No problem. Okay, bye.
Bye. Have a good one. Some people I want to thank today for contributing to the show. Of course, the show's crowdfunded, and we just can't do it without you. Wes kicking in with a $10 super sticker today. So very grateful, Wes. You're awesome. Celeste with a $20 loving Maureen's live show. Celeste, thank you so much for the contribution. And Pamela with a $10 super sticker as well. Of course, if you want to contribute to the show, head to the website. It is thenikkimadoroshow.com. There you shall find the Patreon and the PayPal links and all the ways to help if you are so inclined. But truly, even if you cannot contribute financially to the show, you're being here, you're participating in the conversation, and you're liking the show, clicking the thumbs up button and sharing it is valuable as well. We are so grateful for all the help in getting the word out. I will be back here again tomorrow. Nikki is in the city. She's also in the city on Monday, and then we'll get her back for a bit before she goes on vacation. So very grateful. Oh, Cheryl just popping in with a $10 super sticker. Cheryl, thank you. And I loved your comments today in the chat. So thank you so much. You guys are awesome. And we will end the Nikki Maduro show on this Thursday, like we do every day, with my boy. It's Jacob.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. You're proud, like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.